Um, all right. So we came right back up to our average where we shorted yesterday. Same levels, same everything on ES. We pushed right back up to our 50s in overnight after we rotated down to our target, and the exact same short opportunity was given to you from our overnight, and we are now rotating all the way back down to our lows. So hopefully we have a decision here in a second. I just want to point that out that this is literally the exact same rotation, right? We can see that. So it's the same trade, same everything. We rotated right back up to our original offer as we pushed into our 50. And then we immediately got slapped down after rejecting our pivot here for our secondary leg, and it pushed down into our ADR low. We're gonna have to watch to see how we interact here as we push down into this ETH. So far bouncing these lows from pre-market. I just want to point this out. Hopefully this is obvious. All right, like this is our same risk. This is previous day POC and a previous day value high that we just rejected, as well as yesterday's 30-second opening range from our pre-market. We then rotated down. We are now pushing off of our PVZ hold here. PVZ value held as resistance. We then got that secondary leg, and now we have rotated down into our same low from pre-market as the last rotation we did gave us, right, from our 50s. We are bouncing off of our ADR and our value low. We'll watch to see if this is going to head back up or if this 30 is going to hold for rotations down now. We've done the full range. We have to see if we're going to get any sort of expansion or if this is just going to oscillate. Keep in mind that markets have been oscillating so far. That has been kind of the general feel. Other than that, I'm not too sure. So we're gonna have to wait and see what they do. Very clear downtrend. Just like yesterday, this was the idea. Remember, all you were waiting for when I left you was for Russell to break down its oscillation. That was literally it. So we had this very clear oscillation. As soon as we get that breakdown, the market's been tanking since, right? So Russell is still leading down. We are still holding our 30-second opening range as resistance. We opened and then rejected and then continued downwards. VWAP is above us, and we are rotating into our reversion zone now. So this is telling me that we are in a pretty clear downtrend on the day. We have momentum to the downside. We need to see if this is the end of the downside here as we push into our reversion zone in our ADR, or if this is going to lead to further expansion if this area becomes resistance. So I'm going to be keeping an eye as we push into our 507, 508 area to see if this is going to be where the bid steps back in, or if this is going to be where we reject for a push down to ETH low for further continuation on ES and NQ. So if 508 holds as offer, we should head down to ETH low before we find a low on RTY. That'd be my guess. Let's give it a second. Every single person I know is sick right now. It is insane. Yeah, today, I mean, today is technically a regular day. Um, yes. We've already done more than I expected us to be honest. So, I mean, we'll see how much more they give us, but we've already like beat my expectations on the movement we were going to get today. Yeah, I closed, Rory. My footprint is not working on Tradeday. Oh, it is working. Okay, we're good. That's too zoomed out. You got sick as well, XY? Dude, I'm telling you, like, everyone is sick. I don't know what's going on. Uh, But yeah, yesterday was a perfect example of literally nothing changing in our plan and me being like, why am I sitting here waiting for this to happen and when I can just put a stop on and let it be? I don't know. It's just one of those things where you got to be able to recognize that it's a waste of time, but still have an idea of like what the higher time frame is doing. Like, I don't need to sit here and watch this trade if I can just put a stop on and call it a day. Do you have the capability? Yeah, no, I have no problem with it. I don't trade anything that would I mean, it's one contract and it's not going to make or break me. No, I am not using a prop that makes me close at 5 p.m. Pro's looking for my two lots. Crazy. Yeah, there's a lot of potential for it. We got our reversion signal off of ES, RTY. Everything came down to our reversion zones. So we're just watching now. Keep an eye on 508 on Russell. Yeah, there's nothing to really write home about yet on NQ, sadly. Just range trading back to these POCs up at like 607, 610. But we'll see what Russell does as we push back up into our PVZ zone. Our reversion zone high here at 507 and 508. If this can't get over and this rejects, then probably one more leg down. If not, then we'll just head back up to our PVZ value. Yeah, I think it's a good. I mean, it's very clear reversion across everything. Nice. PVZ is so good, man. People don't respect it enough. Buyer sitting here at this 590. Let's see if we get a higher low here. We have a minute 30 until new 15s. There might be a setup into the new 15, especially if Russell can hold our reversion zone edge.
As a reminder, at the
That
bottom
rotation
of
up
the
to
hour, the
VWAP
EI
and
crude oil inventories forecast
our PVZ,
is
where we have
for a
circled.
build of 0.5 million. Prior was a build of 0.405 million. With the high and low range, high range of expectation of a build of 2.6 million, and a low range for a draw of 2 million. Also, less than a minute ago now, the expectation for gasoline inventories forecast for a build of 1.95 million. Prior was a build of 2.862 million. Still in inventories forecast for a build of 1.55 million. Prior was a build of 0.202 million. Crude Cushing inventories prior was a build of 0.07 million.
I am so excited for these holiday weeks to be done and for the market to just be back to normal. Oh, I'm so excited. Just give me the new year. Lord. I have so many like trader friends that don't trade at all for the basically in like the last quarter almost, but you know, the last like basically
draw
like 2 months of the year.
1.934 million, draw of 1.934 million compared to the expected build of 0.5 million. Gasoline inventory is a build of 5.845 million compared to the expected build of 1.95 million. Distillate inventory is a build of 4.977 million compared to the expected build of 1.55 million. Cushing inventory is a build of 0.543 million.
Any plans for tonight? I don't know, man. I don't think so. I don't know. I don't drink. I don't really like want to go out. I don't know. My brothers are out of town. I don't know. I really don't know what I'm gonna do. Stranger Things? I don't know. I was waiting for the last episodes to drop before I started the final season. So maybe. Isn't that's you? That's tonight, right? Like the final episodes drop today? I don't know. Yeah, tonight. Maybe I'll watch it. I was waiting for the full thing to come out before I continued. 2 hour episode is crazy. We went right to our Russell target and lost momentum. See what happens as we push down into 508. Have you never seen any of Stranger Things, Ben? I mean, it's a decent show. It was like iconic. The first season was like very good. Season 2 was also pretty good.
US oil flips to negative following EIA data release.
That show like changed what people listen to music wise. For season 2 it was crazy. All of a sudden we were all listening to like 80s music. Like, it's like they like pushed like songs that haven't been on the top 100. Like a bunch of 80s songs all of a sudden were in the top 100 again. So it's like very clearly affecting pop culture. Russell into VWAP here. There's no like right side of E yet, in my opinion, but we are potentially setting up for one. If we can flip 610s on NQ, we might be onto something for this low, especially with Russell continuing. Yes, looks much better with our very clear hold and bid of our value low on the daily, as well as POC of previous candle. Yeah, they're definitely trying to break this downtrend. If Russell can flip VWAP, then I'll feel a lot more comfortable that we're going to be moving up to like 518 for the 30-second opening range. I fucked up my knee somehow, and I don't know what I did, but oh Lord, God, it hurts. Like, I actually might have to go to the doctor. That feels bad. Yeah, it is. And then, like, occasionally it shoots down my shin. It is very painful and very constant. And, like, it sucks sitting down, but when I'm standing, I can, like, barely lift my my leg up, like, above my hip, if that makes sense. My right leg. Like, I'll try to, like, lift my knee. Like, I have to, like, think about, like, if I was, like, trying to do, like, a kick. Like, it's very painful. And it's the same knee that I've dislocated multiple times. I have a dislocating patella with like a pretty soft or thin side muscles, I guess. I've had to do like a lot of work in the gym trying to strengthen my muscles and my legs because of that, just genetic. But this is different. I don't know what this is. It almost feels like I've got like a liquid in my my knee. I don't know how else to describe it. VWAP projection on Russell still, no change, and Q still flat. Very clear box on NQ. Banded walks. Yeah, I can try. I just don't want to hurt myself more with something like that. I'm like kind of, I'm very scared. Because it doesn't feel like a strain, like or I did anything like that. It just, I don't, I wish I knew how I hurt myself. You know what I mean? Before I like tried to I just gotta go to a doctor. I don't know. Yeah, man. Like, it's just like woke up paralyzed. Oh, this feels bad. Watching for a lower offer here on RTY for us to come back down to 507. If we're going to continue downwards, we're going to watch our PVZ mid. We're going to watch this PVZ as well. See if we hold this for one more leg, like so. Let's kind of keep an eye on that. Same thing on NQ. So we push down. We're going to do that. That's what I'd be expecting the offer to be sitting. That'll be our first signs of weakness if we're not just going to do a full range again. I mean, it's very clear that we're trading in a box here on NQ, but like if RTY holds our PVZ and NQ holds as well, then we should head down, I would say, to 68 at least. That'll be our first sign of like, oh, okay, like sell side is very clearly not just gonna, is shifting downwards. And then we'd probably be heading to like 550 after this first leg into 68. Yes, into our low. Russell held pivot. The reason I'd be looking for 50 as secondaries is just ETH low, right? But we'll see what we do now. So we push into this. Again, ES double bottomed into our reversion zone at ETH low. Just watching as Russell pushes down now as well off of our rejection here and into our reversion zone. Potential for a bounce there, unsure. But I don't think that we're done selling. I think we take out that wick low from our last test down here. Would be my guess. This bid at 920 on ES has almost 1,000 contracts on it at 920. They for sure pull that. Ain't no way. Oh god, I'm freezing. You know what I'm gonna do tonight, Rory? I'm gonna get sick. That's what I'm gonna do. Literally everyone I know is sick. It's only a matter of time. There's no way that I do not get sick and everyone else is sick. It's just like it's not feasible. Or maybe I am good. I actually got my flu shot this year. I've never gotten a flu shot since I was like a baby. This is maybe I'm a mutant. Surely. Hmm. Yes, attempting another reversion into our low, but I don't know if I trust it, to be honest. But I do see the setup off of PVZ, but I'm a bit worried that Russell's going to continue to hold this 510. But we did just get a reversion print with a POC into our lows. So basically, market, this is what they're trying to, this is the setup that they're saying. I don't know about that one. I mean, that 20 is still being advertised. We can try it. But I'm not doing it with any kind of like crazy risk. I think that we head down further. We'll see. Yeah, no. Russell's still rejecting. I think if this buyer fails here and we offer, this is going to be a very good sign that this is going to take a go down to go down. How much time do we have left? We've got a lot. Sell side just took out that low. I'm watching for a reoffer now. I think with that failure here, this is definitely going to go down to our lower target. And 17. $22 to $24 maybe.
Ukrainian military says it struck oil refinery in Russia's Tuapse.
This is a little preemptive, but I'm keeping an eye on this. Off of that flip. Actually, I'm trying this. Bro, what just came up on this playlist? What is this? Jesus. NQ's still flat, but Russell leading down with our lower high. Just playing off the flip of that failure on ES.
Ukraine says it also struck oil terminal in Russia's Krasnodar region.
ETH low holding as resistance. Just looking for a push down to like 17. Ideally. See what we do from there. A bit slow. NQ still holding, which I'm not a huge fan of. I don't know. But I don't really see anything on NQ that I want to play. Sadly. I still think that like NQ's probably just headed down to 50 overall. But how we get there, I'm not sure. Like we might have to do another full rotation first before that actually happens. Russell back down to our reversion zone. I really need to see this 508 go offer for us to feel comfortable with NQ breaking down. If we don't, then it's just going to be another rotation. Back up. What's holding NQ up right now? NVIDIA? Is that literally it? Looks like it. I don't know, man. I mean, TSM is green, but the rest of the market is not doing it. I just filled one at 17s on ES. That's our first target. Off of the flip. You can see I got stopped out on the long attempt, and then we immediately flipped short when we saw that that was clearly not going to work. I'll leave second target 911 as NQ heads for our 50s. There it is. 50 is our great first target. Secondary targets will be if 50 goes offer and holds, will be 440 on NQ. Nice, good job, man. J stores, great stuff. It's all about just watching that Russell pivot to let us know when that market's gonna start freaking out and head down again. Right, as soon as we get that reversion to view up and that failure, it's like, all right, downtrends is a go again. Lost momentum there's pretty rough. I'm just gonna add this for our runner. Again, I took off first risk at 17 just to cover our stop out here from this little long that we tried off of these lows. And then we played the flip, same risk. Now I'm just watching to see if we can go for secondary targets. Again, I'd be looking at 16s into our ADR low, and then 440 is our overall target on NQ. If we can flip 50s. I think we'll be keeping an eye on this area here, just to see if offer is able to absorb into it off of the sweeper that we just saw. I don't expect this to be like a super easy leg down. I think that we're gonna have to work for it here, try to absorb, trap, and then look for something maybe like this as we push into this. We can see that we've got a divergence on tick, so we pushed into 0, but we'll watch for a 0 rejection off of this low. But I think that buyers get absorbed here, and then we'll probably head down for that next leg, be my guess. Let's watch Russell into 508. See if we hold our reversion zone as resistance as we push into this. And that leads to another like, that would lead down if we could do it. I've taken one off of NQ as well from 80. But I'm watching to see if we can get a secondary ad here at 50. If this is going to hold as offer. I'm not sure yet. I think we need Russell to break these lows first. New 15's opening now.
US is to sell $86 billion in 3-month bills January 5th, to settle on January 8th. And the US is also to sell $77 billion in 6-month bills on January 5th, to settle on January 8th.
I'm just giving this a little bit of time to retrace up a bit. Just in runners. Just retracing our sweep down. Again, on NQ, I'm watching to see if we can absorb here, trap, and then look back below. 50 is for continuation. Russell still holding where we need to, downtrend intact. Yes, just coming back up to like 17, 18. That's fine. We're just watching for a lower offer to form. This 50 is going to be a little volatile, but if we can flip 50s, then we've got a very strong contender for that, for another like 100 points down. So it's potentially worth. I think that's fine to long it. Just be careful. Right, like your stop is very clear with that low, but downtrend is like still pretty intact. As long as you have an understanding of like you're trying to play off of this 50, that sell side is going to try to trap you here, right? Like that's my consensus as well. So it's fine to try to longs. Just make sure your risk is tight. Lord. I mostly risked off into the top of this candle that took us to ETH low since that was PVZ reversion, but that's where you'd also look for an offer to keep us trending down, right? If we get back below 50s, then I'll look to add. If not, then we'll just rotate back up to POC of our previous candle would be my guess. This is what I have on NQ right now, trade-wise. So what I'm waiting for is if we can get below this guy and offer, I'll add to this position. And then I'll look for like rotations down to like those 500, 510. Right? So I'm playing off of this sweeper. So all we're doing right now is retracing this sweeper. And as long as we're holding that, then I'm going to be looking for them to just like trap in here and then rotate us below for that continuation through. But if we can't do that, right, like then it's just going to come back up to my average and then we'll flip because this will then go supportive and then we'll play this up where view up goes supportive and then this will go up. That's kind of the idea. So I'm just waiting to see if we like can absorb into here after this sweeper down, make a lower high, right? Like the worst that happens here is like I see us coming back down to this, and then we come into this offer, right? Like this is the worst case scenario, and then this is just going to, you know, do this based off of this like POC to value low. But I think that we're still like gonna go down, but that's only if 50s don't flip, then we have to kind of reconsider. We'll see. Why did that not delete? Okay, sick. Just delete it by hand. Oh yeah. So like Ben, all I'm talking about is this. When I talk about POC, like a rotation back, I'm talking about the previous candle with this yellow box here at 80. That's where that POC is resting from previous candle. So each candle has a value area as well as a POC. So we held our value low of our previous candle at 50s, which is what we're looking for to flip. If 50s can go offer, that is, then we'd be holding our value low of our previous candle. Right? We've got all of these traders who are trapped down here below 50. I want to see if the offer can flip this and then rotate us down. If not, if this value low holds, it only makes sense that we traverse and head back up to this POC to value high because we're within the internal range, right? So I'd just be expecting us to re-offer into this sell, and then we'd have to still get below 50s for me to care. So I'm basically just saying, like, I'm willing to put on risk here with the overall trend intact. I'm willing for us to kind of like come back up, seeing that we're in an overall downtrend, and I'm expecting those to try to absorb. And like the buyers attempting this low, if we get back below, are going to be our catalyst for our next leg down because they're going to be trapped trying to break a downtrend, right? Like this is a downtrend, and we have a bid who's here. So we have buyers who are really attempting off of this guy to be like, hey, this is our low, right? And now they're trying to build us here. But the problem is with this is that we have nothing that has told us yet that this is a break of our lows. So these people are a little preemptive, and it's fine to trade this, playing off of that 50 like Rory, but you have to realize that your offer is sitting above, and we haven't broken the downtrend yet, right? We're still holding POCs of previous candles as resistance, and our trend is still intact. So these people are a bit preemptive. We're going to need to see secondary buyers step up if this is actually going to do anything real. If not, then this is just a scalp off of these trap traders into our lows. And they're looking for something like this, right? And then we can still just head down, right? Like this would be the pathing. Sorry, it's a bit hard to draw pathing on the 15 because of how TradingView works, but right, like you'd just be looking for the bid at this 50, and then it'd just be a rotation back to our offer that's sitting here, and then it would just be a failure, and then a rotation right back up. And then as soon as we look into that, then we would offer below our 50s again, trapping this bid that's sitting here, and then we would get our next leg down. So you have to always be like aware of like what are our catalysts for both sides. And like this guy needs to stay off sides if this buyer is going to actually be able to do anything. And then what's really important is getting us back over this 90 for secondary buyers to step in. If we can see this 50 low hold and then our 90 bid flip, right? Like if this isn't our offer and we actually flip this, then we'll head back up to our 610. That'd be my guess. Into our VWAP. Right, this is like 610, 615. But if they fail here, this is just going to be where we absorb, like I've been talking about. And then as soon as we flip below 50s, we're going to see a sweeper happen where our offer flips this, and then these guys are going to be all off sides, and that'll be our catalyst for our next leg down in our overall trend. That's kind of like the idea. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, I mean, I always have it on. I just double click on my screen to bring it back up. It just takes up too much room, man. So it's very hard to have it both. Have both. I just always have it minimized. It's true. See, when I'm not streaming, I can put it on my larger monitor, but if I tried to stream on my 2K or my 4K monitors, like you guys would be, you need a magnifying glass to see anything. It's like when Mario streams for class, where he's on the ultra wide. It's like, all right, can't see anything. Minute till 15s. We should get a decision, I would hope, into the new 15. Let's see what they do. We really got to get below this 50 on NQ, or we'll head back up first before we go down, just to look higher, to trap outside of this range, right? Because like the longer that we sit here in this range, this being the range, right, the more likely we're going to need to look above to trap outside of, and then have to look through to head down. Same thing for the look below. if this then gets that liquidity and then goes. We just need to see what we're going to do here. We'll get a decision, I think, on the open of the new 15. It'll create a break of either these highs or lows, and then we should get follow through afterwards. But we're definitely gonna stop some people out here on either side. There's no way that they don't try to manipulate this area a bit after this chop. See what happens in a new 15s. New candle opening now. Setup's a bit better on ES for the long, off of the load to POC if you're looking for it, for the rotation back up to our original ad. I'm still just waiting, but I do see the setup for the long scalp. If you're looking to play it, right, which is just, this is your really tight risk here off of our value low. Off of POC hold. And you're looking for this rotation back up. I see this, but I'm not going to touch it. This is where you're looking to see if we can break. So when I see stuff like this, I'm watching this now as like where we need to flip our offer, because the bid is very clear here on ES. So if we can flip this buyer here, then I know that we'll head down to target immediately. But if this holds, then we're gonna have to do this rotation back up to our ETH low first. Oh, Lord. Yeah, I mean, price is going down. So tick is going down. Tick represents the stocks. If the market's down, tick is down. This rotation's almost done here into ES off of that little long that I was telling you about, off of the open on the new 15s, holding POC to value low of previous candle. Just a rotation back up to the original short into our ETH low. As we push into this, just be aware of a potential sell. Same thing on NQ. We have pushed back up to POC of our previous candle. Watch to see if sell side takes in here and if we're going to rotate down off of this 80 to 90 or if we can flip it. That's why we're here, Ben. Appreciate you. Can we get some speed? What are we doing here? Again, though, if we can flip it, Rory, over 90s, should head to like 615. So we'll see. Yeah, man, we'll see. If this does hold, then we'll look to play what I have done for pathing, but let's just keep an eye on Russell. As long as Russell's downtrend is not playing, right? Like, if we have momentum to upside on Russell, then it's just going to have to be another VWAP retest before we head down again. Right, it'll be like this look in, and then higher low, and then rotation back up to our pivot before we can then rotate down again for that next leg. So we just have to keep an eye on it. As long as RTY has momentum, then the market kind of ceases all of a sudden. And then we'll have to wait for that to happen before we can head down. Same thing like with tick. We'll just keep an eye on this. The uptrend in tick. But again, like until we flip VWAP on Russell, these are just reversion trades for continuation down overall for me. That's like always going to be my bias. Always. Yeah. Just my runner on both. Same thing with this NQ80. But if we flip, right, like it'll just be an immediate rotation off this. Should head to like 615 to make up for any stop out that happens. Be my guess. So that's your first target here. This is just back to our pivot here on ES off of the long that we saw off the new 15. We've now done the rotation back up. And this is your first target, just back to our short entry. If we can flip this ETH low here again, we can see something similar where we'll head up to our secondary target, which would be into our reversion at 27, as well as our daily POC. So you're keeping an eye on this to see if we get a secondary leg here on the open of the new 15, which happens in 30 seconds, and that would lead into a secondary leg here. What you're watching for is, now that we've done this, if we sell and then rotate back down off of this, or if we're going to go for these secondary targets into our Russell VWAP. Note that Russell has done absolutely nothing into the end of this move, but we are holding a higher low. So if we're going to go anywhere, we're going to watch to see if these lows continue to maintain. If Russell oscillates, market can go up. If Russell starts falling again, market loses strength, and then we'll rotate back down. I'm not bullish on the market until we flip VWAP as supportive, personally. It just is going to be a reversion to our purple line here, which is our VWAP. Watching our new 15s. trying to like figure out how I show both of these at the same time. It's very hard. Now that this long has been done, I'm just going to remove it, I think. I don't know. I don't want our charts to be too messy. Watching to see if our bid can hold this 80 to 90 on NQ. Off of the look above. We want to see Russell hold these lows if we're going to do one more leg up to VWAPs. If not, then if Russell starts to lead down, then the market will continue. Now that we've hit first target on ES, we're just back to our original short. No change. Again, we're watching to see if 80-90 flips on NQ for that rotation up to 615, 611. If this fails here, then it's just the exact same short again for this rotation down off of a failure and a trap. So again, just keep an eye on these Russell lows. See if we are just going to oscillating or if something different is going to happen. NQ is a little less apparent, obvious structure-wise compared to ES. So like we need to really pay attention because it's going to be a bit more volatile on NQ. ES is like very clear structure. Everything's holding where we want. Everything's doing what we want. But NQ is a little bit more volatile at our edges. So be a bit more careful. I think waiting for this 50 flip might be better off for most of you. Instead of like trying for the directional trade here if you're not already in. Or just playing off of our ES edge. I mean, it's like 2.5 points. Just watch Russell low. If we continue to hold this oscillation, then we have one more leg up on NQ and ES. It'll make sense if this is now your risk, right? Like if this is your risk right now, technically, where you're holding that sweeper. But if we flip it and take out highs, then it's just a long, right? Like that's the problem. But like if this guy remains off sides below our pivot, like it's donezo for full rotations back down. I mean, that's at least how I view it. Again, like I'm not bullish until we flip VWAP. Everything else is just a reversion to VWAP. It just doesn't make sense to be looking for anything else other than that. So we know that level at 50s for the flip, and we know that everything else is just going to be a reversion back up. And now it's just a matter of like finding where people are going to get trapped. So right now we know like this buyer over 590, very trapped. And we know that the offer is trying to step us down at 580 again, but they don't have to succeed. We can see it. We've identified it. Now it's just a matter of seeing what happens. And reacting to it. Like if Russell holds these lows, like we're not breaking down. Like this seller is going to just get absorbed here at 75.80, and then we'll pop back over 90s, and then we'll be on our way. But like if Russell breaks down, we put in a lower high, we break out of this range, you know, then NQ's gonna run with us to the downside. I mean, we just got to see what I'm getting at. Holding our lows so far on ES. This is our value low on the daily holding, as well as POC of previous candle. If this higher low holds with Russell maintaining our oscillation, then again, we probably have one more leg up into VWAPs. Watching our retest here of our PVC pivot on ES at R22. Russell oscillation happening back to our highs off of a hold of our lows. Let's clean this up while we wait. Oh, I love the slowdown. Shit. These guys at 75 are still being absorbed on the open of this new 15. POC is trying to shift down here. Nothing really to talk about. Russell still sideways. ES still holding POCs of previous candles as supportive. We're just watching to see if these guys are going to still remain offsides. If they do, then we'll head back down to do a rotation of this range. NQ a little less. It's a bit of a harder read because the likelihood of us either testing 50s again or 615s, it feels about a 50-50. It's like actual coin flip right now while we wait. But understand with ES is still holding our pivots, everything's intact, just holding POC previous candle while Russell trades sideways. As long as Russell's trading sideways and isn't doing anything new, right? Like we're just going to gravitate towards previous price points on NQ and ES while we wait for the market to make a decision. It's basically just what you would call like a neutral state, right? Where we're just going to rotate back to known buyers and sellers while we wait for the market to figure out what it wants to do. But again, like these people over 90 are offsides, but these people below 50 are offsides. So we have this weird dichotomy of it being basically like a buyer and a seller, both offsides outside of a range. And we have to see which side's going to win out, or we'll just rotate and retest both while we wait for what happens. And this is where people lose patience, right? And just like trade the wrong side on the edges, looking for more while nothing is going to happen. people get so caught up in like the most recent low that they ignore the overall trend. We've absorbed like what, like 1,000 contracts here at 75. It really does feel like a 50-50. Yeah, it's because it's an inside candle on the 15, right? Like where we haven't done anything. We're just retracing the squeeze candle off of the 50 hold, right? So we're just in this candle. So until we like figure out which way we're gonna actually break, like we're just gonna continue to rotate it while we wait. And I think your catalyst is just gonna be what happens as Russell pushes into VWAP. Nothing I don't think has changed in that idea. With the hold of our lows, right? Like it's just we gotta wait for it. If we lose momentum there, market's donezo. But if we can flip it, then we can start to look for the upside. Until then, it's just get chopped up.
7 minutes away from the top of the hour, we get the EIA natural gas change. Forecast is for a draw of 56 billion. Prior was a draw of 166 billion.
Almost to VWAP, boys. Be patient. Watch this as we push in. Again, like this is just our look above and fail area on both NQ and ES if we can't hold here. So far holding POCs of previous candles, there's no change. We're just still following our bullish pathing on ES. If we flip this, we'll head up to 28s for third target. NQ, no change, just rotating within our structure of our previous candle. Again, all we're expecting on NQ right now is a rotation between this low and this high. It is in an internal candle while we wait for Russell to head to VWAP. Roy, the Apothecary Diaries season 2 is the highest rated TV anime on my anime list for 2025, with an average of 8.91 out of 10. You watch that with your wife? Yeah, that's a good one.
5 minutes ago, until we get the EI natural gas change forecast is for a draw of 51 billion. Prior was a draw of 166 billion.
I feel like if you're gonna get like introduce someone to anime, like your girlfriend or something, it's like Spy Family, Apothecary Diaries, and I'm trying to think of like another one. Uh, yeah, I think the 90 long's fine for the push to 15s. Just be careful as we test into the high wick here of our inside candle. What's another cutesy anime that's good? Uh, I don't know. Reincarnated is not as casual as you think. Yeah, like you already have to be in that world, or some of the tropes are gonna feel a bit weird. Like you don't realize how, I don't want to say like, how do I word it? Like there are like some really odd tropes in Reincarnated for sure. That would come off to someone who isn't familiar as like sus. That's the best way I can put it. I mean, Naruto's great. Nothing wrong with Naruto, but that's another one where it has some tropes that don't really fit in the in the old Naruto at least. But I mean, it's a great show, great story. But Naruto, like the original one, you kind of had to like grow up and grow up with it for it to be good. You know what? Oh, a third one I think that's good that anyone can get into that has no weird tropes and is just like a solid story. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, right? So like that would be your three: Spy Family, Apothecary Diaries, and then like Brotherhood for like an action show that represents also like solid characters and story. Yes, I have, but that's a movie. Free yeah, Free is good. I guess Free you could do. Yeah, Free is also a good one to add. Good job, Kiz. Yeah, good rec. Those would be my four, I think. If I had to like show someone that's new, I'd be like, look, it's not all weird. It's not the author's like barely hidden fetish. Hunter x Hunter is also a good one, but it's big. It's a long one. I wouldn't show that to someone who's new.
I
That's
need
like
to go
when you
now.
introduce after they're like, yeah, I like those, and you're like, oh well, you'll like this then, right? Like you can't introduce them to something that's going to take up too much of their time. Wait, what, sir? Oh, I've seen that. That's like the bread trope anime though, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, shonens
10
are
seconds.
hard for new people because it's using the old model where there's like a bazillion filler episodes. People don't have the attention span for that kind of garbage anymore.
Draw 38 billion.
We're just
Draw
not there as a
38 billion
society.
compared to the expected draw of 51 billion.
One Piece, yeah, only one season, bud.
US 30-year mortgage rates dropped to 6.15%, the lowest in 2025. So again, it was fixed rate mortgage average is 6.15% in the December 31st week, the lowest since October 3rd of 2024 week versus 6.18% compared to the prior week, according to Freddie Mac.
Sorry, I went to use the restroom. Yeah, off of 90, Rory. Off of the flip. But I'm not sure if we're gonna get too much more here, bud. We'll see. ES is just so much better structurally. Just right side of Ving it all the way up. I'm really not all that bullish still until we see Russell flip. Or this is just going to be like a mega trap into VWAP and then sell side just takes advantage again. So I'm not trying to go crazy. Yeah, I mean, it's 12. You probably have like another, I don't know, 20 minutes of good trading, and then it's going to slow down for a bit. Like two.
We have posted out the EI natural gas report on the feed for you to read through.
I don't know why anyone's interested in trading PM at all. I feel like most people's trading should be done between 10 and 12. Everything else is garbage 90% of the time. Has anyone watched the new Avatar movie? We did this poll last time on the last one that came out, and everyone in chat said no. You fell asleep? So the one person who saw it fell asleep. Okay. Dude, this area is so scuffed. Alright, well, we got our reversion, but let's see if we find our bid here now at 80. You don't know what it is? Avatar? Holy, get me out of here. Back to our 75. We're gonna have to change
Freddie Mac
this.
says 15-year Freddie Mac mortgage rate averaged 5.44% as of December 31st.
75 levels here. 70 to 80. All right.
So again, that's the 15-year fixed rate mortgage averaging 5.44% as of December 31st, according to Freddie Mac.
Okay. Get me out of here. VWAPs held as resistance across the board after going into our reversion targets. Sell side step back in. Russell, no flip of our VWAP. Just rotations back down. Back to our absorbing now, where we absorbed last into this the 70 area. As long as this is maintaining, it's going to be very rough for anything to really happen here. We're watching to see if sell side can flip this. If not, then the bid just rotates us right back up. This has been where we've been absorbing over and over and over again. We need to see a very clear seller at 80s for this to matter. If we can see sell side hold this and then rotate us down, then we get a nice secondary leg down to our 50s. If not, then we're just going to rotate right back up. We need to see the lower high here for this area to matter. That'll give you the idea that we can continue onwards. If not, again, we rotate back up to 90. This 70 low has been continuous with its absorption so far, and we have yet to see any interest below. I still think 50 is our major pivot. It needs to flip. Russell still has done nothing of importance. Everything has just rotated. There's nothing here until we can flip VWAPs over, or we're just going to do our reversion targets until we get the breakdown while we continue our higher time frame trend to the downside. It is midday. Yeah, I'll be here Friday. Peace. Get me out of here, man.
Residual fuel inventory is about to reach top capacity in Venezuela as exports remain almost paralyzed, according to sources and shipping data.
This should be your first target if you're playing off of our absorption low here into our highs into 90, off of our 60 to 70 absorption that we've been talking about. It's just a rotational trade. There's nothing here other than this. It's just we've identified that this is where they're absorbing. As long as this is holding, it's just going to rotate. I think the higher time frame setup is still that this is going to fail into VWAP over and over and over again. I think this is probably what you're going to see for a little bit longer. And then the overall idea, I think, is probably going to be watching just these highs and then looking for this look below. And as soon as we see that, we're going to look to take out that internal, right? Like that low of the day. But if this flips, we go to 440. Like, that's still my target. Nothing has changed about that. But how do you get into that trade on the shorter time frame is the question. And I think this flipping offer is still our best bet. And this would be like the first one, I think, with a potential then for an add here. You can see that we just rejected our high of that value. No change, like I said. Like it's just a rotation. Just watch your value low here again into 70s, but I'm not a huge believer that this breaks out. You can try maybe an ad like that. But we got to get below this. We got to get back into these lows, and then we need to reject these value lows here where this buyer is absorbing. If this buyer who's absorbing here into 60 to 70 can flip, that'll be such a good sign that we want to continue downwards below 50. We get that flip of our 550, the market's donezo. But until then, it's just reversions to VWAP over and over and over again. Oh, Lord. Happy New Year's, Nicholas. So I'm not gonna lie, I took off a few months from trading because I took a management position somewhere, but just wondering when I get back to trading, I'm so stuck on options, still no futures. Do you think it's realistic to continue with that mindset? I don't know if I understand what your mindset is there. I mean, congrats on the new job. That's good. So you're saying you're continuing to not trade. The mindset is to stick with options. Is that what you're saying? I think if you have a job where you can't manage the market, or you don't have a couple hours free each day during the between 9 and 4, that it's going to be very hard to trade futures. Options is fine if you're looking to swing, right? Like, it's just like, what's your time? Like, I can't really give you advice because I have no clue like what your schedule is, right? And like what you're willing to like do. It's really like futures are very time dependent. But like if you could dedicate yourself between, 10 and 2 p.m. Eastern every day, or sorry, 10 and 12 Eastern every day, like futures is probably a much more beneficial thing. If you have a full-time job and you can't give yourself any screen time, then option swings at close are probably your best bet, right? Where you take trades at end of day or near end of day, and then look to close in the morning the next day, based off of wherever we, you know, based off of your like higher time from structure, stuff like that's probably better. I mean, it just really depends. If you're looking to like scalp options and you don't have the ability to look at your screen, like you're gonna have a really bad time. Right now I have about 2 to 3 hours morning, 9. I mean, that's perfect for futures, honestly. But I mean, it's up to you. I think futures give you the best chance to trade in that time. And there's no PDT, which is great. I think that's like one of the biggest things that holds most people back who trade options, is like you have to stay in losing positions, or you aren't willing to take a chance on a trade that you really like because you already used your ammo somewhere else for the week, and now you have to wait for it to reset with PDT. And you can also trade prop on futures, which gives you leverage for free, or not free, but risk free, really. So that's good. I think futures are just great if you're looking to day trade. If you're not looking to day trade, then options are definitely still viable. It's just, what do you want out of the market, and how much time are you willing to put in? My plan was to do quick option scalps. Yeah, I don't know, man. I just don't see that as a great medium these days. It's definitely possible, but again, like with PDT, I mean, I don't know what your account size is, but if you're looking to scalp with options, it's a bit rough, and tax wise, it's a bit rough. um, Isn't the tax on futures more than options? Not usually when you're looking at shorter term trading. It's unless you're trading like very specific things with options. Like there are like specific options you can trade um, that are equivalent. But even then, like the 60-40 split is usually more beneficial for day trading with futures. Um, I mean, it's comparable, but 60% are taxed. 60% of profits are taxed at long term, and 40% are taxed at short term as ordinary income, right? So you could trade like if you were trading like only SPX, like NDX futures, you could do it would be a similar breakdown, Zeno. Like if you were trading like options, like future options, I think that would be okay. But I think your rate is actually much worse if you're trading like stock options, trying to day trade, like equity options. Sorry, because it's 100% short-term capital gains. So like if you're trading like SPY, QQQ, Apple, Tesla, etc., like it's all short-term capital gains because you're scalping. Whereas like with futures, it's 40-60, or sorry, 60-40. Yeah, but SPY is still an equity future. It's the same tax rate. You'd have to be trading SPX for you to have the 60-40 tax split. Again, like there are different kinds of options. So okay, first of all, none of this is financial advice, clearly, but and I'm not a tax professional, but like SPX options are treated differently than SPY options. It's a different section. They're taxed differently. You get 60-40 split on SPX options. I'm almost positive. Whereas SPY, it's 100% short-term gains. So like if you were just trading SPX and like RUT and NDX options, like yeah, you could do that. But if you're trading SPY, you're hurting yourself. You're gonna have more taxes. Um, I don't know. Your effective tax rate between okay, so you have to think about it like this. Your effective tax rate is like 23% on futures. And if you're trading equity options, it's like I don't know, like 40%, like 37%. Like you're definitely paying more. So just like if you're a profitable trader, like it's worse for you to be trading short-term options than futures is what I'm trying to get at. Unless you're trading specifically SPX or RUT or NDX, which again are the same tax as futures. So it's something like to think about when you're looking at short-term trading because you're going to end up paying like 10 to 15 grand more in taxes at the same if you made like 100 grand in futures trading and you made 100 grand in short-term options trading where you were day trading options, you would be paying like $10,000 to $15,000 more in taxes with the same profit, same net profit. That's all I'm trying to get at. Plus, again, like if you don't have $20,000 in your account, like you have to deal with PDT as well, and you could be like a pattern day trader, and then like you're also kind of fucked there. So like futures just feel like a much better medium. And they're both leveraged, right? Like so there's no like real reason not to trade it because you're still getting that leveraged goodness that you want. Which is the whole reason why like most of you were here in the first place was because you were trading options for the leverage, and now you can just do it with futures. I don't know. I mean, you should definitely talk to your CPA if you have one, but I think that they'll probably tell you the exact same thing. But definitely, like, I don't know. It changes. Like, there's um you have to like also remember with options and with equity trading and all of that, like you have like wash sales. Like there's a lot when you become profitable, there's a lot more to worry about all of a sudden. I don't know. You have a lower effective tax rate on day trading, no wash sales with futures. I don't know. Your losses are treated differently. They're not limited the same way as like with equity. Uh, yeah. So like if you're like a day trader or you trade like a shitload, like you don't want to be trading SPY or QQQQ. You want to be trading SPX because your the tax benefits and year over year benefits are just, I mean it's night and day. But like SPX is a much harder medium to trade because you need to have a lot more liquidity to trade it effectively. That's the problem. And then again, like if you have the ability to scalp SPX and you have that kind of bankroll, then you might as well just be trading futures, in my opinion. But you know, to each their own. Do I do swings or leaps and all? I do. It depends. I definitely do not trade options as much as I used to. I will hedge positions and I will hedge my portfolio with options because I'm not trying to sell at some of my averages that I have on stocks. But I hardly ever play options these days unless I have like a bet where I think like the market's going to do something major, but I don't want to time it correctly. So I'm just giving myself time for the play to happen, right? So that's the I'll call out like swings sometimes of where I'm like I think that this is probably the top, but I can't call the top, and I think that we're probably going to be selling in the next week. I'll call stuff like that all the time. Um, and then I'll give a position if I think that it's likely to happen, or I'll recommend a position where it's like, these look decent. Um, I'll do that sometimes on like a Friday into a Monday. But other than that, not really. I mean, again, futures are just such a better medium. Yeah, like I'm hedging my stock with month or month out options, so any downside can be covered on my stock portfolio with short-term gains from options. Right, because like you're every time that we get like a 5% move to the downside, you're not going to sell your long-term portfolio. That's crazy. You want to maintain your long-term portfolio, but you want to have some sort of protection. So you would short based off of what. I mean, we can do a class on this, but like there's a whole breakdown you can do of like what is the weight on your portfolio and what kind of downside are you expecting, and then how much of a hedge would you need to be taking to cover any sort of downside in short-term gains on options, right? Like what if you're expecting a 10% downside on your stock portfolio, you can make up for that with a hedge. And then you have to just like break down your weights, right? But like that's the stuff I'll do. Because like I'm not gonna sell my Nvidia average because I think that we're at a short-term high. Like that's crazy. But I want to cover it just in case that dip keeps dipping, so that I can make up for some of that unrealized loss or unrealized, yeah. Yeah, I can talk to Mario about it. I don't know. And so I don't want to like. It's hard with those kind of things because it's so specific to. I mean, a lot of you don't have like the larger portfolio that you need for these things to like really matter. But it's still not bad like lessons to learn. I don't know. I think like Braxton is just great at this kind of stuff, even on his short term stuff. Like if you want to do options, like Braxton's great, and you should be following Braxton, not me. He's much better than I am at like the risk to reward with spreads and all of that. That being said, like I was very good at options, but I wasn't playing spreads. I was playing like one legged leveraged positions for larger moves most of the time, 90% of the time, which is very different than what he does. Braxton is incredibly good at managing risk. And you should definitely follow what he's doing. Oh my god. All right. I mean, this seems like it's just going to be another one of those days where we're going to do nothing and then the move's going to happen in Globex and then you're going to get your next leg down. That's what it feels like, boys. I don't know. I mean, do we sit here in the rectangle? Like I don't know. I'm not. I mean, you have to again, like the market's going to be so much better after New Year's. So much better after we just need to get back into full weeks. Ugh. It sucks that like I don't know. I mean, the Christmas thing is great. Like you get the little rally, it's whatever, but like it's not great for day trading. None of the last 3 weeks are just not great for day trading. Once we get out of this, it'll be so much more enjoyable. Who's Braxton? He's part of TFC on the option side. He manages our automated options strategies. Hydra. So if you want Braxton to trade options for you, you can subscribe to Hydra, and you will take the same trades he is taking. That is a service that we offer. Or you can just manually follow him because he posts inside the Discord as well, if you don't want the automated part. I'm gonna watch anime. Yeah, that's a good idea, Basil. Nothing else to do while we sit here. If we get the breakdown, like I'm telling you, like we've got a good setup, but we have to wait it out. Everything else is just going to be a continued reversion to our VWAP at 510s on Russell until we get the breakdown. It's literally the same as yesterday. So we get our downside leg, we get our big move, and then this is what we did yesterday. Remember? We just rotated, and then when we actually got the rotation below, then we got our breakdown. It's the same thing again, where we're just holding VWAP as resistance, and we're doing our rotations, and until we can flip this, we shouldn't be expecting more. But if we can get the rotation down and we can flip this this buyer who's absorbing down here, we're going to be in a very good position for continuation on the higher time frame. And that will lead to most likely a move down to 440 would be my guess. On a flip of our 50 pivot, that's your sign that we want to get the larger breakdown. Until then, right, we're just reverting back to our VWAP, which is our purple line. And then our sellers are just absorbing there and then rotating us down. The overall trend is still just doing that. It's just a sell into our VWAP on both ES and on NQ. So until we can flip above, there's no reason to be expecting anything other than just a seller sitting here to slap us back down to our value lows. Wouldn't it be a good idea to take a put on SPY? I mean, it depends on your time frame, bro. Like if you're looking to day trade here and then we chop sideways for 2 hours, your SPY option is going to do nothing other than bleed, right? So like that's the problem with options. But if you took out, you know, a SPY put for a week, you know, you gave yourself some time, then yeah, maybe it could be really good for a continuation down. But if you're looking to day trade, like this is where options start to really screw you, because you're losing value on them as they get closer to expiration. So if we chop, then you're like absolutely screwed on your options day trading. Right?
Europe Stock 600 closes 2025 up 16.6%, the strongest advance since 2021. So again, it's its strongest advance since 2021.
I'm not taking a put, but it makes sense to short a bit. Listen, like this is my higher time frame look is this. My higher time frame idea is that as soon as we get this break of these lows, this is your risk. And we are looking for this. This is what I'm watching for on the higher time frame. None of this matters to me. This is meaningless trading. This is just balanced trading in an overall downtrend. You get me? So if we can push below this, this then becomes your risk, this balance above. And then we are looking for a rotation down. But like that's a shitload of risk on futures. Like I can't just be like, guys, I don't care about anything between 570 and 610. I can't just be like, that's your stop.
Spot silver extends losses, last down 7%.
Most of you would blow up off of a single contract if that was your stop, right? So we have to be much more specific with our entries because of the amount of risk that I'm looking at right now. So I'm looking for smaller time frame pivots with the understanding that none of this action is meaningful here, because all of this is just a reversion to our VWAP, right? Our VWAP, this purple line, and we're looking at the seller. So yeah, you could try a short at these highs, right? And then this is your risk. And then you're playing for rotations down to our lows of balance here, right? Like that's what's going on right now, but that's just a balance trade right now. So you could try again another short here at our lows if we push below, and then that would allow for another rotation like so. But like it's balance with VWAP as our resistance. But like again, like the higher time frame, like none of this is meaningful. If we get below this, then I will just be playing off of this entire range as my risk, for this is our reward, and it will still make sense to do so. Because if we flip those buyers that are absorbing here into these lows at 60 to 70, like it's going to be incredibly punishing. Yeah, exactly. So that's why it's like, okay, might as well just scalp in the meantime our balance that is already very clear. Later myth, right? Like if we know that that's what's happening right now, again, like look at what we've marked on our chart. We've already identified our highs and our lows. We've identified the balance. We've identified everything. So you know that there is a buyer here. That's what I'm saying, is like your range right now is this. This is your risk at our lows. And you're playing into this. And this is your risk from the highs, and you're playing into this. It is balance. Until we can break below this pivot or break above. Okay. I'm waiting for the price to break below balance. Yeah, exactly. Right. So just as long as you're keeping that in mind of like what we're looking for, then that's all that matters. And again, like we have two very clear balances. We have this upper balance here. We have a lower balance here. So price should oscillate in this upper balance. And then if it doesn't, we'll get the lower balance oscillation. And then we'll do something like this, where this will either fail and look below, and then we will rotate down, or this low will hold, right? And then we'll get the higher low here, and then we'll play this back up, and then you'll have a secondary entry for this rotation back through, right? With this lower balance and this higher balance. And you just play the recovery of said pivot, right? So if we like look into this low, we'll look for the recovery of this, and then the higher low for the play for the rotation back through. Right, and that creates your risk to reward for the upside. Because again, we've already identified that there's someone absorbing into here. Now we need to see them absorb, and then we need to see the secondary buyer step back in above our edge for the rotations back through. But this is how they get you, right? Is that we get into these periods where we just are balanced after a large move to the downside, and then you're expecting a move to happen, you know, any second it's going to happen. And then you sit here for 2 hours, and then you finally are like, fuck it, I'm out of here, right? And then the trade happens afterwards. And it's like nothing's invalidated about our overall setup. Nothing has changed. You just have to be patient and allow the trade to play. And as we chop here, they're just taking away all of your profits from the first 2 hours of the day, right? Because you're still expecting that same energy as we push into lunch. And that expectation is what kills you. Like understanding when there's a lull in the market is very important for your both your trading, but also just for your mental. And like, oh yeah, we shouldn't expect anything crazy to happen during this period of time. We should expect to slow down. We should expect different conditions as we get into midday. This is like the most, I mean, I say it all the time, but for anyone who's new here, like this is one of the most important aspects of journaling is to be able to look at your monthly performance, your weekly performance, your daily performance, and see what periods of time you perform the best, right? And then you want to start breaking down the time periods of where you're trading to be like, oh, I trade very poorly in these regions. I trade very well in these other regions. Let's completely avoid these periods where I do not perform well. And we can immediately increase our win rate and our overall profits by just avoiding entire periods of time where we just perform worse. Like if I know that I have my best performance between 10 to 12, and I know that I struggle between 12 to 1:30 or 2, then like go on a walk, bro. Trade for the first 2 hours and then go live your life. You're not missing anything because statistically you've never been able to be more profitable than your first 2 hours of the day during midday. So there's no point in you being here during this period of time when you know it's just going to take away your earnings from earlier in the day. You know that. You've seen it. You have statistical proof that that's what happens, right? The data backs it up. So just avoid it. If you can avoid taking bad trades, your overall profits go up without you having to do anything. You don't have to take more trades. You don't have to take better trades. You just have to prevent yourself from taking dumb trades and over trading. That's the first step. And that's what journaling can really help with, because it'll show you those patterns, those trends that you're doing. And figure out the blocks where you are successful, just trade those. Avoid everything else. Everything else is noise. If there's an opportunity that comes up within your block, you'll be all right. You don't have to be incredibly profitable every day. You just need to be able to survive till the next day when your trade comes up. Some of you guys are just like so impatient.
Treasury futures fall on heavy volume at month-end index close.
You're allowed to have, net neutral days. You want to save your capital for the periods of time where it actually matters. I think for a lot of you, your timeline of your expectations for a prop firm of like, oh, I need to be able to get to a payout, or I should be making, X amount of money per day, um, are just like way too high. Like if you can make $200 to $300 a day and just like with like pretty minimal risk and just pad that portfolio, pad, build up that buffer, like that should be your goal. Your goal shouldn't be first payout. It should be building that buffer on that account so that you can then trade with a bit larger size and then actually like, start to make real money. If you're like just battling for that first payout and then you blow up afterwards every time, it's because you're just not giving yourself enough of a buffer to actually have drawdown. And you're just like really mentally exhausting yourself over and over and over again. And like you can be successful, just taking one payout and then blowing up an account and then doing eval again and then doing it again over and over and over again. But like I think most of you just need to like trade pretty um small for a bit longer than you want, where you're just taking, $200 to $300 a day in profits and building out that buffer as much as possible, and pausing or pushing back when you take out your first payout a little bit longer to give yourself a larger buffer. And then once you have that buffer in place, then start to take payouts so you don't immediately blow up, the next trading day, because you've given yourself zero padding. Like any trader that you see on Twitter who's posting like insane gains, the way that they're doing that is because they built out huge buffers for themselves to then be able to trade much larger leverage. But they trade very small. Like the risk to reward in the beginning is going to be much more defined and way less volatile as they build out that buffer. Like again, can you make money here? Yeah, we have no balance, right? And so as long as you're willing to put on risk at our low edge and our high edge, and your risk is set, you can just play the rotations back up in balance. But like eventually, it's not going to work, right? And so you don't want to be incredibly over leveraged, but you want to be able to, um, you have a defined area at our lows and our highs, and you can just play these rotations up and down, over and over again until it stops working. And eventually it will stop working, and that's okay. You have to like remember, like, what was I doing yesterday at this exact same time on ES? Let me see if I can pull it up. What did I talk about yesterday? Right, this was our risk, was this 50 to 56 area, and we were talking about how we could take a 1-to-1 risk to reward into our 47, 48 area by playing off of this 50 and just playing this rotation while we waited for the breakdown to happen. You're in that balance right now. So you can have your overall risk in this upper period, right? With the idea that we're going to get the larger breakdown eventually, but you can still be scalping this range while we wait for that to happen. And so like I will continue to take profit in this area while we wait for this breakdown to eventually occur. But like at no point did we break through this area. And so then I could leave this as a runner for our continuation down. Right? And it's the same thing here. It's like your edges are you can play your edges with defined risk in the meantime while we wait. Right? Like this is what it ended up being. This was what we were talking about yesterday. Right? Do you see how we just chopped here between that 47, 48 and our risk? And that's what this was. Just chopped. And then eventually we actually did get the fall where this rotated down. So what does that actually look like? Oh, again. Oh, it's too large. Well, that sucks. But we got the breakdown. I can't post the image for some reason. It's in Discord if you scroll up, though. Let me see if I can take a screenshot of a screenshot. Yeah. Right, like nothing invalidated with our setups, and so then we can play the rotation down on our runner after taking our initial profit for the 1-to-1 while we were scalping our range, and then play the rotation down. I don't know. It's just another balance rotation here, boys, on ES and on NQ. Full rotation on ES and Q here.
Surely expect a Fed reverse repo operation data. $49 counterparties take $105.993 billion at Fed reverse repo operation.
Yeah, that'd be sick. Yeah, later, Rory. Do you see how we're just rotating our range? Like, there's no. Like, it's literally the same thing again. Yeah, I don't know. It just is what it is, boys. Like, it's like I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like I can't define it more for you, but I can't. Like, you either put the risk on at your edges or you don't. It'll work until it stops working. As long as your risk is there, there's nothing else to do. Do I want to sit here for the rest of the day while we do this and tell you the same thing over and over again? No, not really. Right? Like, I've given you my higher time frame plan. I've given you your edges to trade around, and now it's up to you to click the buttons.
All right. I don't know. You have my overall idea of what I'm looking for. Again, I'm not trying to sit here while we chop in balance. If you want to trade your edges, the edges are very clear on what we're looking for. Again, the bid is into the lows, the risk is into the highs. You're looking for a very clear flip of these and hold for a continuation in either direction. I would not be looking for a bullish expansion until Russell goes above VWAP and can start holding it as supportive. Until then, it's just chop until the next leg down to me. That's my bias. As long as we're continuing to just hold VWAP as resistance, like that, just it literally is brain dead to look for anything else. Until we can flip VWAPs as supportive. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, there's very clearly someone taking in size at VWAP that's looking for a continuation down. Does it have to happen? No, right? But like, until that narrative shifts, I'm not looking for anything new. Yeah. I'm sorry to be blunt, but like, it is what it is, you know? Like, sometimes it's better to just not overthink things. Just trade what you see. It's not lying to you, I promise. When we have defined risk like this, like, it can be incredibly beneficial. The problem is when you start getting in your own head, looking for some sort of like conspiracy narrative of like what's going to happen or some sort of like future price action. And it's like, no, like, there's a buyer and a seller. We're trading between them. It's going to continue to happen until one of those participants are offsides. And then we have a secondary buyer or seller step in to then punish, right? Like, that's just how price moves. And so as long as you have that mentality, you have very clearly defined risk with where we're trading. And then you have to then from there be like, am I going to look for the runner for the potential rotation for the secondary, for the expansion, or am I going to continue to just scalp balance, right, and take full profit off? And that's up to you, right? Like, that's your prerogative. But I'll post charts in chat so that you can have something that updates without me having to stream. But other than that, I think our levels are set. I've got PTs below and above set. I've got our risk. Everything's good on both ES and NQ, I believe, for the current plan. You guys have a good day off. Have a happy new year. And I will see you all Friday. And then I am excited for full weeks and the market to come back alive and for us to start really trading again, with a bit more excitement. That'll be nice. Full weeks are the best. These like half weeks and shorter weeks and choppy garbage into end of year is just always the worst. Again, like I said, I have a lot of friends who trade professionally and just completely avoid the last like 2 months of the market because it's just not worth it to them. And it's not a bad model to follow. But we're almost through it. I think we've done pretty well, that being said, but all right, you guys have a good one. And again, I will post charts in chat. Please, just the plan is the plan. Just like yesterday and the day before that, like, nothing has invalidated with what we're looking for logic wise. Okay, goodbye.